Hi, I'm Jan Boal. Tired of all the negativity in your life? Do you ever think what the world needs now is more love? Are you wondering why it's so hard to meet the right partner? If you answered yes to any of these, then you have come to the right place. Hi, everyone, and welcome to Positive Life. And I'm your host, Jan Boal. I'm a psychiatric and holistic nurse for the last 20 years. I am a facilitator, author, empowering health and spirit guide, honorary Maasai warrior, and a host of other little things, like being a mom. That's not important or anything. Anyway, this is a long time dream of mine, and so just bear with me, please, because this show is totally organic, as in we're just kind of going by the seat of our pants and doing this because it's something I've dreamed about and believe is my calling, like I said, for the last 8 years, and now I'm just going to let it happen and unfold. So bear with me if there's any glitches. Things will get better as they go along, but the most important thing is I want to have fun and hoping that you will have fun with this. And what the show is about is a holistic view on what affects and shapes us mentally, physically, spiritually, environmentally, and energetically. So I will be interviewing folks from all walks of life. And on this grand opening of this show is a very dear friend of mine. And joining me is Kathleen Lamanna. Yay! I call her Earth's Cupid. Kathleen has been an intuitive and transformative coach since 1997. She has studied many avenues of love and is a great source of knowledge on this topic, as well as how love shapes our everyday lives and the world at large. Welcome, Kathleen.
Thank you, Jan. I'm excited to be here.
I'm excited to have you.
Terrific.
So, love is a very powerful emotion. We all know that. There's been millions of poems and songs and books written about them, like love is a many splendid thing. And, people will climb every mountain and swim the deepest seas for love, which is true, and a mom's love is super powerful. I mean, people have known to lift up cars to save their child. But it's more than that. It's an energetic power. Can you share your thoughts on this?
Oh my goodness. To just piggyback onto what you said a second ago, it is good to remember that love, true love, knows no barriers at all. It will leap over hurdles, it will jump over fences, and it will permeate walls. And then it lands at its destination with a heart full of hope. And it is the basis of every interaction that we have in this lifetime. So it really cannot be minimized, Jan. And
I love how you said that. That was so beautiful.
Thank you. Thank you. And we'll get more into the whole energetic and vibrational piece as we go along. It's very powerful. And I think if we don't convey anything else today, that's the biggest piece.
Right. And I think that when we come from a place of love, especially with all the friction that's going on in the world right now,
Yeah.
if we come from a place of love, we're going to be opening ourselves up. And when you think about that, you're going to send yourself out differently. Your intentions are going to be different. And I think that makes a huge difference in interacting, whether it's with family, friends, partners, politicians, our differences of opinions. If we can remember to come from that place, I think the rest kind of unfolds a little easier.
Yes, really. It should be the organizing principle of all of our interactions. And I'm reminded too of a beautiful thing that Chief Seattle said when he was here many, many moons ago. And he said, mankind has not woven the web of life. We are but one strand in it. And whatever we do to the web, we do to ourselves because we're all interconnected. And that couldn't be a more powerful message that we need to hear right now. It's just amazing.
Absolutely. Absolutely. So do you think that all we need is love? That it can cure everything that ails us in this world?
Well, I think what happens often, Jan, is we outsource our wisdom. And when it comes to love, we are our own internal gurus around that. And we forget in this culture, because we're so highly sophisticated, that we forget that love is medicine. And when we have ourselves in harmony, our entire body, mind, and that phrase has been overused through the years. And I was with one of the first groups that really educated people about that, because I had a massage therapy practice for 13 years, but it couldn't be more important. And love has to be the basis of that. And once you have yourself in right harmony, then that does echo out and uplifts all of life. And actually it has curative factors.
Right. That's kind of like that hands-on love vibration that goes on with healers.
Yes.
But it also makes me think about, you kind of touched upon it, like what is the difference between loving from the heart and loving from our mind? And I think you touched on some of that in just your last comment.
Right. That's a powerful differentiation. And in a way, they do flow into each other, but there is a depth when you're loving from your soul. And how I like to approach this is, I'm sure you're aware of the Greek word agape. That is that transcendental Christian approach that's fundamental to all life, where you treat people with respect and you realize that love is a sacred thing. And you do help by your example to mirror that and bring that back out in other people. And as far as the deeper level, the soul love, I like to draw on my Celtic roots. My ancestors are from Ireland, and they had a beautiful phrase called Anam Cara. Anam means soul, Cara means friend. And when we go through life, this is what we want to search for. That's that deeper soul connection where you feel heard and validated. And it is a beautiful, beautiful thing. And there's a beautiful book written on that if anyone wants to explore that more, literally called Anam Cara, written by John O'Donohue, the poet and philosopher. And it is beautiful.
Oh, I love that. It is. And I mean, I kind of got teared up when you started talking about agape and stuff, because really, what if we all came from that place?
Exactly.
We know that there's instantly this shift, that would happen on this planet. And I, for one, thinking that we sort of are there right now. I mean, there is a shift happening, and we want more harmony. We want more love. And I think you kind of have to go through, as a nurse, you sometimes have to debride a wound in order to activate it to heal itself again. And, or if there's a poison, you have to kind of let it all come to the surface to know what that poison is, to deal with it, to know what the right antidote is.
Right.
And when you were talking about the soul, I just came up with this little saying this week, which really, it does come from my heart, and it totally matches what you're saying. And that is, love is the soul in motion.
Beautiful. Ooh. Very, very quotable. I love it. I love it.
Yeah. I
Very
think
good.
maybe I'll get a t-shirt that says that.
That is very good. Yep.
But speaking of souls, so what is your intake on love, relationships, and that soulmate? Is there just one soulmate, and what is a soulmate?
There is, as we go through life, there are many, many soulmates for us. You can have an incredible friend that you have that depth of relationship with. You can also have, you know, a brother or sister or a parent where you are bonded in a deeper level. And they are there, they help when they're on your path, they reflect back to you the love within you. And that's the beauty of a soul kind of relationship. And there is a beautiful term called an ancient recognition when it comes to your soulmate. And it's fantastic. And we can get into that more, or I can cover that right now. It's whatever you want to do.
Yeah, that let's tap a little bit into that, because I believe that there's different kinds of soulmates, and that people come on our paths also for a reason. That saying of a reason, a season, or a lifetime. And I think they are a soulmate of ours. It doesn't have to be just that, oh, what you say your love of your life is, and
Right.
your partner, and that you'll never have another one like that. I don't think that's true. I mean, some, because I think there's many.
Yes.
And I don't want people to get stuck thinking, oh, I only have one true real soulmate. Well, you might only have one true really soulmate for a particular time in your life, and then you grow and move on, or they pass away or something, and then you get another one, and it's just as of value. And I think it's hard for people to let go of that only one soulmate.
Right, right. Well, and that has everything to do with, you know, the Hollywood version of love, which really is so fickle in that oftentimes it's dependent on the circumstances at hand. And it takes the form often of, you know, stalking, addiction, passion, you know, too much so that you lose sight of that core value of that individual. And I like to think often in my head around the beautiful visual when it comes to soulmates. And it just is exactly what you were saying, is you're walking along on your life, which is a journey, and someone happens on your road. And you two join hands for that moment in time while you both have a lesson to learn. And then you come to a junction in the road, and it's time then to let that person go. And you let go of their hand and you bless them and you go on your way. And someone else meets you down the road. And I really like that visual. And that could be soulmates all along the way, helping you to grow, because we all come here with a sacred contract. And we're all here to learn about love and how to give and receive it.
Wow, that's beautiful. I love how you put that. It is. It's just, how can anybody not listen to this and not just feel so incredibly great inside and go, yeah, that's the ticket. It's so easy. But we lose sight of it. And
Uh-huh.
I also think, as far as Hollywood and, relationships and marriage and stuff, that, we bond to each other because, we're so much alike. But there's the things, I think we also pick soulmates for a reason, and that's that underlying behind the scene thing, is that we learn from them by what their shadow sides are, or kind of things that we find difficult in living with them about. But really, it's about us. It's our reaction to them about that. Because for somebody else, if they just leave their socks on the floor, oh, no big deal. Somebody will eventually pick them up. But for somebody else, it's like the end of the world. And some of that probably has to do with their own training as a child. and whatever, you know, that led to and why that's a bad thing. But a lot of stuff is just old habits, which gets me into then thinking about about your coaching, calling in the one.
Right.
Can you share with us a little bit about that?
What I love about, I've had quite a bit of coaches training, and then I realized, you know, I really wanted to hone in on one specific arena. And I looked around and realized how many people in the over 50 age group had come out of broken marriages and how lost they were. So I focused in, and I hired my coach who wrote this incredible a book called Calling in the One. The beautiful secret, Jan, about it and the entire course is the person you call in is yourself first. And people get all excited thinking, oh, this will help me get that person. And the whole beautiful focus is looking at why you have held love at bay all these years. And what have you not cleaned up in your own life? And the whole beginning is around self-love. That's the basis for the springboard for getting yourself healthy first. It's a beautiful process. Catherine has set it up to be 7 weeks with all kinds of interactive assignments, and her wisdom is incredible because she has walked it and she knows what she's talking about. And her book is just beautiful. It's just beautiful. I can't recommend it highly enough. And the author is Catherine.
I have.
Yeah.
I have read it, and I too found it. A lot of stuff I already knew, but there was also other stuff that I was like, oh, yeah. And it's that whole energetic thing. We're going to get what we put out. So if we're not full of self-love and are emotionally well ourselves, then we're going to draw somebody in that mirrors that and will, like I said, kind of call us to the challenge of learning that about ourselves.
Exactly. And the whole idea is you have to be a strong me before you can be a strong we. And then that we-ness, when you come together and you're both very strong individuals and you've done your work and you know what it is you need and want in life and you have good boundaries and you're putting yourself first in a positive way, then that uplifts everyone on your path. And that has to do with that beautiful message around all of life being energy and measured in vibration. And we can talk about Dr. Hawkins' work if you want on power versus force. It's phenomenal.
Yes, and that's what positive life, positive vibes, everything that I want to convey is, it's all an energy source. And we can choose to put that out there, whatever that is. So let's talk a little bit about what is the vibrational frequency of love, and tell us a little bit more about, is it Dr. Hawkins?
Yes, it's Dr. David Hawkins, and his book called Power versus Force came out in 2002. And what he had done is a tremendous amount of research with kinesiology, which is muscle testing. And the book really is very simple in a way. By using muscle testing, you can get a definite yes or no about major questions in your life. And he, out of this work came his map of consciousness. And I have a copy of it, Jan. It is phenomenal. And what he discovered is he calibrated all conditions. And it is amazing. And he found that when you're operating out of love, you are vibrating at 500. And collectively, at the time he wrote his book in 2002, the entire world was operating around, I think, 210. And now we are operating in the 400s, which is around reason. And the gateway from the lower levels of blame, shame, anger, all of that, fear-based vibrations is below 200. 200 is courage, and that's where we get our power and we rise up through the other levels. And ideally, if we operate at 500, are you ready for this? We can impact over 750,000 people for the positive exponentially. And that's a lot to get your head around.
And that's what I'm about, sister.
Yes,
That's what I want, positive vibes, my little Facebook, my Zoom meetings to do, because I believe it. Everything has energy. A rock has energy, trees have energy, everything emits an energy. We are fortunate enough as human beings to choose what energy level we want to omit. I mean, sometimes, things happen,
yeah,
but we know it's there and we can just put it out there how we choose to, and that has rippling effects.
exactly. And Jan, even this topic alone sends out a more positive vibration into the universe. The simple reason that we're here today raises everyone's vibration that will be hearing this down the road. That's the beauty of this. And if we can get that message out to people, that exponentially we can up level their world. That's powerful. And they can turn around and do the same.
I know that. That's why I picked you. Yes, that's why I picked you to be my first guest. Let's jumpstart this baby.
No kidding.
Yeah, what else was it? So what I like about the title of the book, which is interesting in what energy does, it's about power versus force.
Right.
Because
right.
the power of energy emits out, as opposed to trying to force something. If we energetically emit it out there, it kind of has this little secret way of just seeping in, and because like attracts like.
Exactly, exactly. And he says that, if I recall this correctly, that ego relies on power, but the soul is innervated by force. There's the force or actually that's the other way around, sorry. Ego relies on force.
Yeah, to say.
Right. And then it's the soul is energized by the power. So it's amazing once you get that concept of the difference. And you look around in the world now and you're seeing that in spades. You're seeing it in spades. The whole difference between power and force. And you can tell where that negativity is sourced from. And so you can see how destructive.
And right, because I think we all want to feel like we're right. And wanting to feel like we're right is an ego, as opposed to being open to saying, okay, I don't know it all. I feel like this is the correct path, but not to be so fixated on the outcome that that's all you allow yourself. Because if we're not right about something, then our ego then starts doing flips, these little gymnastic flips going on, saying, well, if I'm not right about that, then I may not be right about this. And then who am I as a person? And then we start relying on others to validate us, to make sure that we're right, as opposed to being comfortable in our own skin and it not mattering that you don't agree with me. I don't have to take it personally.
Exactly, exactly. And that's that whole thing around being outer directed as opposed to being inner directed, because we have such wisdom within ourselves. Mm-hmm. And once we learn the value of who we are on this planet and that we are the gift, then you can look at things that come at you and be wise in your discriminating choices. But it does start right inside, in your core value system. And then you run everything by that core value system.
Right.
Right.
Mm-hmm. And this brings me to thinking about Miguel Ruiz's book, The Four Agreements,
Yes.
which really help with that balance in, put your best foot forward, don't take it personally, always do your best. Oh, and speak impeccably.
Beautiful.
That is so powerful. And that's where coming from love is about. When we come and try to speak from love, we're going to speak impeccably.
Exactly.
But when we're trying to force something so that we're right, or somebody's trying to do that to us, then we take it personally. Where
Right.
it really isn't about us. It's just their opinion. But
Right.
but it becomes this power struggle of, well, I have to be right. I have to be right.
Right. And you're very aware, Jan, of when someone is speaking from the heart as opposed to just mouthing words. It's so different. And
Right.
then your heart speaks to heart. And words just are words. Although they're powerful, and they're extremely powerful these days. We're getting that in spades. And it's so important that you anchor yourself into your heart so that what does come out speaks to that other person's heart. And that's not easy. It's not easy. But you have to really make a conscious choice to come to
No,
space every day.
absolutely. And like I said, I try to do that by trying to figure out what positive energy I can put out there, because I know it will help me. I will look for something, some kind of positive read or something that makes me laugh or whatever. And that's why I created Positive Vibes Facebook, was to have that this is really what it's all about. It's all about supporting one another and loving one another. And yes, we're not going to always agree on everybody, and there are bigger stakes here. But I'm just going to try to start with this and then open up and then watch the unfolding happen.
Right, right. And it will be.
No, I'm not running for president.
Glad to hear that one. I love that own saying, stay in your own lane, girl.
Yeah.
And
yeah. I got enough on my plate. I'm good.
Yeah. Yeah.
Absolutely. Well, Kathleen, I feel like we could go on forever and ever with this, and I'm sure we're going to come back around, and we will. To any of you that are interested in more in finding out about relationship coaching, you can send me an email, and there will be a thread attached to this video, and you can type that in. And what I'm hoping is that we can do a second little recording or interview with answering those questions, because there's even more that Kathleen has to offer about her coaching. Because I know some of you may be thinking, is it just for one person? Is it for a couple? The whole world is our oyster, and I know that Kathleen can help us with that. So her website is Seasoned and Single. Or is it just www.seasonedandsingle? Like I said, you can email me, contact me at my website, janboal.com. And I would love to hear from you. I'd love to hear your input about how you thought this show went, what you got from it. And I look forward to hearing from you. And thank you so much, Kathleen, for being the launch pad of hoping to broaden our vibrational frequency, and for love.
Thank you. My joy and honor. Take care, Jan.
Thank you.
Bye-bye now.